This is the long version of software engineering, a basic lecture on the software engineering 4000 course, as is offered at most general computer science course, not a specific high power core like Berkeley, MIT, or Caltech, but basically just a computer science core like, I don't know, maybe Michigan or Illinois or Florida or Texas Tech. Most software engineering courses have an engineering prerequisite of data structures, algorithms, object-oriented programming, and maybe graphics or strings or UX, UI. It's fairly specific and tailored to one language. The ones we'll be looking at are C++, Java, and Python. It would be nice to think we could use JavaScript or something, or Clojure or Erlang or something, but those are peripheral languages. Consider the big three. There's more versatility in object programming and something with a powerful graphics library like Python, or a general purpose language like Java, or something that's strongly object oriented like C++. A lot of times you'll find C++ is the basis for large software engineering and architectural projects anyway. It binds very closely to C, which is the basis for most compilers, interpreters, and virtual machines and metacompilers. Anyway, through the assembly language for most computers, desktop, mini frame, or mainframe even. So it's just much more general. The basic prerequisites within data structures is an understanding of the stack, the queue, and the linked list, and the variance thereof, like a deck, a doubly linked list, and a circularly linked list. Within data structures also you'll find things such as the Computer Science 101 data structures like hash tables, dictionaries, maps, and tuples, vectors, and arrays. So within that framework, you should know how to program those fairly robustly, declare multiple data structures upon necessitation across the program as a whole, spontaneously with very few errors. Likewise, the algorithms involve basic things like merge sort, heap sort, insertion sort, selection sort, and searching algorithms as well. Dijkstra's algorithm, the greedy algorithm. Within these basic data structures and compound data structures, even things like enumeration structures and arrays, you should know the formulas and standards for the various three big languages, Java, C++, and Python. I believe all three support generics. You can save a lot of coding and space for things like linked lists, just using generics out of the box. In C++, it's called the standard template library. In Java, it's called collections. And I believe in Python, it's called generics. And there's always such things as front ends and libraries you can use. You try to generally avoid those within these software engineering courses. Just work with the core language, Java API, the Java library, Java libraries, and basic Python libraries, NumPy, scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Pandas, and within C++, the STL, and support for file input output, strings. Like, you should know strings within any of those three languages, like basically how to manipulate, sort, search, filter, concatenate, merge, just basically manipulate strings fairly robustly, as well as graphics, scientific computing, and object-oriented programming. There's robust support for all three of those in all three languages. Graphics I say Python is probably the easiest. I forget which form C++ uses nowadays. In the old days, it used to be Pixel support. In some of the newer versions on Visual Studio, you'll see things like frames, boxes, windows. So I don't know what's it conventionally uses. I would assume pixels are still good. Maybe not. Java, I'm not really sure what kind of graphics it comes with. But you should know basically graphics, how to plot curves, fill polygons, rectangles, pre-described function curves, do rotations, Euler angles, maybe a little bit of primitive shading, use a projection matrix. That's basically the Euler angles once again, and manipulate time-dependent graphics in the basic way, as well as pixel maps like bitmaps, where you're overlaying a basic surface and then manipulating it time-wise according to a function. It doesn't really entail things like Unreal Engine or Mugen or advanced Java or C++, but you should definitely know how to do basic primitive live animation according to the mouse and cursor, or at least according to the arrows, or according to a button to stop and start and such things. There's this whole software engineering. You should basically be able to interface object-oriented programming, i.e. data abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation in all its forms for a good number of data structures. Know your big O sub n functionality, and basically know how to use graphics, strings, UX, UI, and data structures and algorithms in an integrated sense, almost like a symphony, just using all the different elements and components in turn at the same time in sequence and so forth to achieve the desired effect. You should be very proficient at catching exceptions, logical errors, semantic errors, and so forth. For what it's worth, in a beginning software engineering course, they don't really expect you to do thorough scoping for input, but it should be generally feasible to at least specify whether you're using things like a string or a constant or a variable or a integer or float, and basically what the bounds are for that, what's acceptable input and what isn't, as well as some basic. You should know how to use your debugger and your compiler in a way that allows for things like text substitution, bottlenecking, multi-threading, multitasking, parallel and distributed computing at a basic level, like where you can control elements of memory, control throughput for bottlenecking within the compiler itself for like trying to optimize your code. It's not really that hard. It's basically just a few clicks of the button on the Windows GUI compiler, and you can basically fix your multi-threading, multitasking, parallel processing, distributed and parallel computing. So it's not that hard. And the more you get into it, the more you'll see that it's basically an object framework with data structures and algorithms, a little bit of graphics, a little bit of strings, a little bit of file input output. You should be able to write for courses such as this, I would say upwards from memory alone, a good 20 pages of code to support something fairly robust. For example, a tic-tac-toe program that's intelligent for, like, say, a 4x4 board, or a even more advanced things like a three-dimensional tic-tac-toe program, or a program that graphs float functions and complex variables. That's one old problem that Python has good support for it. I've never seen it in Java or C++, how to handle the 2πin addition within any complex root or power. Python supports that. I mean, you could program it into Java or C++ using De Moivre's theorem, but you'd have to create a function within your library to handle it more smoothly. Just do a import, and you can have your function ready from another file to handle within your software engineering program. And that's the point. You should also know how to import multiple libraries from multiple files across files and get it to compile. It's not that hard. You just drop the text file in your directory, in your root directory, then batch them all together in the main program. Then C++, I believe, is defined as main args. In Java, it's string exception throws args or something. In Python, I believe it's just main again, or just anything you want it to be. Basically, just call it a root function or a root method. You can basically compile together, but it's not that hard. And the software engineering projects will probably entail, it could be anything. You should be robust in languages as well, maybe even database or operating systems. Any of those can also be considered prerequisites for the course, meaning you should be able to import a database, create a basic functional displaying spreadsheet, perform basic operations on it, almost like you're creating your own Excel program. And of course, it'd be much more limited. You wouldn't expect it to handle pivot tables or VLOOKUP, but at least it could handle auto sum, average, standard deviation, regression. And that's basically just out of the box. You have to know how to program that from the ground up spontaneously and not stumble constantly making small syntactical errors and logical errors along the way. It's just a necessity for courses such as this that your base coding fairly well. And it doesn't take much experience with data structures and algorithms to get that fluid. You should also be able to compute your bottlenecking and big O sub n fairly fluidly. Of course, there are complexities which might look kind of hard to calculate on first-hand approach. You should at least have a ballpark way of at least deducing whether it's exponential, polynomial, logarithmic, linear logarithmic, like whatever it may be, or even constant. You should know how to do that fairly completely with Java, C++, and Python. I don't really recommend other languages beside that. If you really thought about it, you could try Visual Basic or C Hash or R, Julia, Scala. Those libraries aren't really that famous or well developed. You'll find very few colleges that use those languages for a software engineering course. Obviously, such projects exist. It's just once you realize the GitHub and Git support commits for that, is the libraries are far less, 1, robust, 2, numerous, and 3, broad spreading in their application and functionality. You would tend just very strongly to go with probably Java, C++, or Python. If you want to get expansive with the .NET library, you could try C Hash. Or if you want to try functional program, you could try Clojure, Julia, or Scala. I think Julia and Scala are just, I believe they're object-oriented, but Clojure is list-based programming. And I think it's Scala that also is functional. You should know the basic differences between those concepts, such as list, functional, procedural, and object-oriented. Sometimes they overlap. They really do. You really should learn to code in the different methodologies. And that's just the backdrop, because in Java, C++, and Python, you're basically doing object programming very little of it is functional or procedural. I think Java supports functional. I'm pretty sure none of them support procedural. You should just get used to the idea of being fairly robust in knowing your code. And that doesn't mean memorizing tons of string libraries or obscure commands like caps to lowercase. You should definitely know things like what basically would pass in Unix as the grep file extractor, like filter, or like search option, where you can perform operations on strings and text files. You should know commands like that. And once you get better at it, you can do things like interlace your operating system at an advanced level, where you can set up a batch file that interacts with your program for things like multiprocessing and hyper-threading and multi-threading and stuff, so you get a finer fit for it based on your computer's capabilities, or at least what you want to dedicate with your RAM and your memory. But that's for another lecture. You should just, as computer science assignments, I would generally recommend probably programming a checkers program for 6x6 boards, something expansive like a target-based video game program, maybe a slot machine program, an imitation in the form of grep within Java, C++, or Python, where there's a general purpose extraction language, or like at least file processing front end or library. You should know how to program libraries anyway out of the box, like just import your library and have functionality. That's a given. There's other things that go with this, like path names and root directories that you learn in Computer Science 101 that obviously go along with it. And all this will have to be integrated. And, there are cheat sheets where you can get basic big O sub n for all of your data structures, advanced data structures and algorithms, even for fairly heady algorithms like things for like determining matrix diversity or matrix spreads, or some kind of function of a matrix that isn't necessarily linear, row or column based only. And scientific programming is one thing. Like, there's a lot of problems in theoretical computer science that are fairly hard. That's not really what the purpose of a software engineering course is. It's basically the facilitation, integration of the various elements of 3,000 below computer science for large-scale projects using full functionality at a fairly abstract level, meaning that you get a lot of functionality for one program, and can handle a fair number of situations for a specific application, and is fairly robust with input and output. And that's basically all it is that it's a bunch of software projects, maybe 2 or 3 small ones, one medium-sized one, and one fairly large one, involving upwards of 50 to 75 pages of code. You'll find that the more you get into it, the coding basically explains itself. It's not really sequential, but it just may as well be like just a logical breakdown of input, output, fine-tuning input, output, and you applying data structures and algorithms along with scientific computing, graphics, file input, output, and operating system and methodologies in computing for a generalized holistic effect that is robust, error-free, fast, and requires little memory. And that's basically all it is.